Suffering from a severe lack of shooting aliens in the face? Then Destiny might be the game for you. Provided you have friends and enjoy repeated environments, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Bungie's latest epic tells the story of the Traveler, which is basically an oversized ball of giganticness that found our solar system and decided to pimp out our planets with breathable air and lush landscapes, and it did all this using a power known as the Light. What that giant jerkbag forgot to tell us is that he sort of had a huge army of death machines following him to our solar system, and now it's kind of all of our problems. So right after humanity enjoyed a golden age of interplanetary life, we were rewarded with a golden age of Pwnage. Everyone now lives on the last safe city on Earth, where the Traveler has set up shop to look for people called Guardians, that's you, who have the ability to wield the power of the Light and make up for the Traveler's huge embarrassing failure. Speaking of huge embarrassing failures, the setup I just gave you is about 70% of the story in the game. There are cutscenes, but they're very few and far between in a campaign that's around 20 hours, and the only in-game dialogue comes from your very own 343 Guilty Spark, who is wonderfully voice acted by Peter Dinklage, but full of a lot of dull information that you probably won't care about.
Fascinating. A conflux of non-baryonic streams going where?
Every campaign mission boils down to shooting a ton of aliens to get to some cave, finding the troll that lives there, and shooting it dead. And no matter how many times you do this, the game still patronizes you with dialogue like,
I have no idea what's about to happen.
We know what's going to happen. You're going to press some button, Darth Infinite Health is going to come out of nowhere, and I'm going to shoot him for 12 minutes while you watch. That's another disappointment about the game's bosses. None of them are particularly interesting to fight. 90% of them just need some grade A shooting over and over again until they eventually get bored of you and take a nap, making almost every boss battle annoyingly drawn out instead of epically challenging. The entire campaign can of course be played cooperatively across all the base story missions that take place on Earth, Venus, Mars, and the Moon. Destiny also features a breadth of raids and strike missions that are basically like regular missions, only with stronger, more annoying bosses. The campaign screams Borderlands, as you and your friends can gain XP together that will lead to better armor, weapons, and swag. Unfortunately, the entire campaign feels like a grind, since each planet only has one large environment where all the missions take place. You'll more often than not find yourself saying, oh, this again, rather than, oh, this again. Acting. And don't get me wrong, I'm comfortable enough with my sexuality to say that this game looks gorgeous! But even the prettiest grounds get tiring to retread. As bleak as this all might sound, Destiny does have one very important redeeming quality. The box art. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. The competitive multiplayer. Everyone can take their own character that they've built through the campaign online for some sweet Halo-style murdering. Now you might ask, is he wearing pants? But what you should be asking is, how can you take your character from an RPG into an online competitive mode and have it still be fair? But rest assured, my bothersome non-friend, everyone's gear and stats are altered to ensure a fair fight online. Bungie hasn't really been specific about what particularly is happening behind the scenes to make it fair, but a lot of the matches that I played were extremely close. I rarely felt like I was defeated just because somebody had some gun that was better than me or he was a higher level. You can play more strategic game modes like Control, which harkens back to Halo's beloved territories, as well as a few simple deathmatch and team deathmatch modes. However, even with the more simpler Slayer-type modes, there's still quite a bit of strategy involved with murdering your friends. In general. Everyone is capable of a supercharge ability that can launch devastating area of effect damage as a reward for getting enough kills, but more interestingly is the gun situation, of which all players can carry 3. You have your primary weapon, which are things like auto rifles, semi-automatic rifles, fully automatic rifles, rifles with feelings. But the two other guns that you can carry have very limited ammo. One is a special weapon, which is things like shotguns and sniper rifles, but the other one is your heavy weapon, and those are things like rocket launchers and heavy machine guns, and those are nice. The only way you can replenish ammo for these guns is by finding ordnance drops on the map. So everyone might have that devastating rocket launcher or a heavy machine gun, but unless you make a valiant effort to claim that ammo for your team, you're gonna have some hurt coming your way. At risk of making another Halo comparison, this does remind me a lot of how Halo maps used to play into the strategy of the game. People would try to get to certain areas of the map first that would have the rocket launcher or the sniper rifle, and now it's actually kind of the same, but it's ammo for a really powerful gun instead of the powerful gun itself. That gives players the option to have any heavy weapon that they want to while still being limited on how they can use it online. It adds an interesting level of strategy that the Halo games had and a lot of games nowadays don't. Players are drawn to certain areas of the map, creating some sort of flow rather than it just being chaos. Another nice perk is that you can still gain XP when you play PvP multiplayer, so no matter what you're doing in Destiny, you're actually still gaining progress towards getting new gear and weapons. This would obviously be more interesting if the campaign was more compelling, but it's nice to know that you can stick to what you like and still make progress. Destiny isn't a killer app by any means, but it's still a good game. This might seem like an insult to a AAA developer as decorated as this one, but the campaign is too thin on memorable moments to be exceptional, the environments get tiring quickly, and the story's nowhere near what it should be on a game this long. And even though Bungie has said this is the biggest game they've ever created, its inherent problems damage the replayability, making it feel the opposite. The PvP multiplayer is the thing that saves the entire package, elevating the game to be worth the $60, but not much more than that, earning this game a B+. Thanks for watching! Credits!